Remember, we're going tempo, we're doing slow practice. What? Right? So the big resonating thing at the beginning is setting the mood, because he's setting the mood in those first two measures where it's bare bones left hand, and that's giving you the mood of the whole piece, actually, right? The dreaminess of the piece. Again, the big deal is whenever you have a tied note, what comes after comes out of that decay off the tied note. Otherwise, you're going to get like, ooh, it's obtrusive. Now the G is decaying. The G is decaying, right? Because it's tied. It's a lower note. So when you go to the D, you have to think what preceded on the decay. Now that's very important, because the D will jump out if it isn't folded in from the G before it. Let me show you what I mean. So see, look, if I play the D, it comes out of the decaying G. If you don't do that, you're going to get a smackdown on that D, even if it's slightly above the ear. Now, what I really liked about what you did at the end of this introductory little beginning, so to speak, is that you made a diminuendo. Even if it didn't say that, is a natural thing because he's falling back down, is he not? From here, sequence down, watch. So, that was nice, and then this is going to be really, right? You're going to do your cadence very softly. Is that right? So you want to map that out right away, which you actually naturally did. The beat, watch. That's better. That's what it is. The beat becomes stretched out a little, because triplet stretches a beat, doesn't it? It's like, does it this way. Now, if the triplet gets crowded in, we don't have a triplet anymore. Is that right? Yeah, and now we're back to hearing 4/8 to the half note. Yeah. Da, na, na, na. Instead of da, 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 it's E, da, all vowels. Try not to poke that second E. Let it fall a little less. The second E doesn't want to poke out because it's the end of the triplet, isn't it? That was a huge improvement right there. Do you see why it would improve if you? Yeah. I mean, triplets go like this. Right? The third of the triplet is really lighter, isn't it? Right. So exactly. Right. And actually, you're not going up and down with your wrist, are you? Doing one wrist roll through the what? Through the triplet is one what gesture? One idea. Lean now. See how I did that? I only went forward on the long note, the D. Stay level. And remember, a half note, what's tied, you're really entering it with a delay, are you not? Because it's a long note. It's a long note. Just like on a violin, you draw the bow slower on that D. On the piano, the way we do it is, see? Little delay, little delay. Try not to go na, 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 because that's consonants. Think of ooh, ah, all vowels, all vowels. Yeah, that was a huge difference right there. I think if you're practicing singing with yourself is great, but if you use consonants where it should be vowels, it will give you the sense of up-down notes, instead of floating horizontally. This is all a piece, this whole piece is about vowels, trust me. Except for this, because you're got little staccatos on there. Okay, so you're going back to tone. Okay. so I liked, you really improved up to the D where that's tied over. That was very good. Now when you, that's measure 6 there coming. Now when you got to the B flat D, it started getting consonants again instead of the vowels, which you did so well. Now remember, is this note here decaying? Is the D decaying?
Yeah.
Got the same issue of you don't want the B flat smacking out over the decay from the last note. So that's balanced. So you have T R 2 1 2 softly crescendo. Now this is falling down to this. It's so sensitive to pokes. You can't have pokes through those notes. So the B flat has to fold out of what? The D before it's really decaying down. And then you can make a little swell. The mine has the swell in it. And even if it didn't, it makes sense that you would swell out because you're getting higher now, right? Here. And then answer down. See what happens there? Flat that you play with your thumb. Thumb tends to poke anyway because it's a short finger. You have to go out of your way to play it very softly and think of the note that decayed before it. It's coming out of the decay. You don't want to play around with rhythm there. You know, it's straight up, but it's softly. Answer softly, really soft. Well, you don't want to get so soft on that C because you're going to have to get softer after that. I would say C.
Okay, so I'm actually kind of swelling up, right?
You are. It's a swell there in my music. That C's too tiny though, because if that C's so tiny, how are you going to get less on the G and the A? And the C's going to decay down to nothing.
Okay.
More C. C. Hold down. Good. That's like total meltdown. That A has to be the most beautiful meltdown. Yeah? Just so sensitively played. Wrist forward. I think what you should do is start at the triplet here.
Okay.
Soft. There. That's an important note. Long note. But then fall. Yeah.
Okay.
So triplet. 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 arrive.
Okay.
I like the end of that very much. I like the way it tapered. You did that well before too. But these B flat, D, E, F are getting to be a little too vertical. Now the way I would handle that is I'd block out 4 of these notes. Watch. I block out the B flat, the B flat to the D to the E to the F, and make a block out of it. Can you make a block with your wrist of those 4 notes? See how I'm doing it? B flat, D, E, F, blocked together. Do that. Use your wrist to play it. Let the wrist drop into the, so you don't squeeze. We don't want any squeezing. We want to go, oh, I've got 4 notes under 1, 3, 4, 5, and I have buoyant arms, I have supple wrist, and I'm just playing them all across as a block. I'll see what we do with it next. Right, so now when you play across the 1, 2, 3, 4 notes, you're just going to roll across the cluster. So you're going to get this. There's no finger action. It's just dragging. Look, weight transfer across. It's one weight going across. I just want to get the sense of horizontal motion. Yeah, it's these are the most important. Watch. Remember that thumb's coming out of a decay that precedes it. Yeah,
Okay.
I really want you to just drag. Don't use your fingers hardly. Just look. My arm is just lying across the four fingers. See? Just dead weight arm. My arm is hanging off those. We want to hear. That was better. That was better. This is where you need to record yourself and hear yourself playing across without articulated notes on this. Because see how he phrases a long phrase above it, a long phrase mark, which means he wants you to think in long lines and not up and down notes. Oh, this is critical. This note must be very soft, the thumb. Drag it. Drag it. Continue. Okay, so now it's falling down. So it's actually cresting on the C. C destination. Fall down. Okay. Wait. Cadence. You gotta map this all out, how you're doing it physically. You can see how sensitive this piece is to that. All Debussy pieces are, aren't they? They are, because they have a different palette, a different tonal palette than Bach and all the other stuff we've done. You know, Beethoven, this is not a Beethoven sound, it's not a Bach sound, is it? Completely different. Blurry, it's the blurry sound, it's the dreamy blurry. So the fingers have to have a certain blurriness to them, don't they? But at the same time, they have to have direction. You have to have swells, you know, and then pulling back. I just think of arms and wrists playing this. But you have to know where your your choreography of your clumps and where your hands are going, right? Like playing this tells you that those are the notes you're rolling through. Yes? Yeah. That's how I operate with music like this. So if you hear any punch-like sounds going into that cluster, it means it's not the Debussy sound. It has to be very buoyant. See what I'm doing? Can you think of molasses? You're going through honey or molasses with through the honey and molasses of your 1, 3, 4, 5. There's no consonants. Yeah, the A could have delayed slightly, right? You've got to know the exact moment when that A wants to what? Wisping in, melting in, really. It's a melting note. Forward. Yeah, that's the idea. So the wrist forward can't anticipate the time when the wrist forward goes. It has to be the right moment that the wrist starts going through the honey of the piano, right? It's not a snap, but it's a slow wrist forward. Right. That's where you really have to breathe. You have to have a great breathing apparatus there. You have to have plenty of air left to breathe forward. Is that right? You have to have plenty of air. You can't be, I've lost my breath. You have to have air there to infuse into a meltdown. Here, there's a right moment. There's just a right moment for that. If it isn't the right moment, it's like, oh, it's not the right moment. It's almost a magical moment when the A comes. It's magic. Can you change the color of that A so that it has more of a veil over it? How would you play the A if you had nothing before it, but you knew it was the meltdown note? Physically, would it be like this? Would that be it? I think so. It would be, take my time, and then I roll through. So play the A as you want to hear it. Don't go forward so fast. There's no need to do that so fast. Think I'm rolling slowly through that note. Slowly, slow motion. Everything's in slow motion. Almost. getting there. It's getting there. Because you're psyching out your piano right now, and you're saying, I'm taming you down. Think of stroking a white cat or any color cat. I just think of this whiteness, this silky white veil. No racism implied. There's a good A. Yeah. Because I don't even have to look at you. I can hear the right moment and the right sound. Yes, the softer the better. The softer the better. Okay, now let's go back to this. I arrive. Ah, there it is.
Yeah, is it gonna last 8 beats though?
I think so. I think so. Now, you might want to pull the dynamic up across that whole passage for that reason, but you're still shaping in the same way. You're still shaping in the same way. Let's say you say, you know what, my piano it's dissolving there. So then maybe you do. You just pick it up a little bigger, but still you're melting. See, that's going to survive. The pedal will be down. It'll be fine. But the challenge is going to be this. See? Look how soft I do these, right? But when a tempo moves quicker, the decay won't be what? As extreme because you're moving quicker. It really probably you're looking at this. That's what it would be. But you have to really tone down your underneath in the alto voice in any case. What you're getting there is just an F major harmony with a sixth on it. Here's the sixth. Here's the sixth. An F major sixth chord, which is a jazz chord. See it? So just a passing sixth. Really, it's just like cluster harmony that's underneath. But nevertheless, you really have to make that a meltdown. No, you really do, because it's so beautiful to do that. We want to hear a blending broken chord harmony under the A. It's harmony.
Oh my God.
Just want harmony. It's all harmonic there. That little inner voice is harmonic.